Welcome to my advanced English class. This is lesson 62 in my continuing series of ESL instruction. If you find this lesson helpful, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Past perfect. This tense can be used for the following reasons. 1. An event or action that happened before another action in the past. 2. To give information about the words of someone. This is called reported speech. 3. To show a state of being in the past. 4. In sentences that use passive voice.
One, an event or action that happened before another action in the past. So, simple past describes events in the past. But, past perfect is a more specific type of past tense that describes an event that happened in the past, but then ends at a certain point, before another action. For example, in simple past, she broke her leg. She used a wheelchair. In past perfect, she used a wheelchair after she had broken her leg. The first action was she broke her leg and the second action was she used a wheelchair. Note that the past participle of to break is broken. She broke her leg. She used a wheelchair. She used a wheelchair after she had broken her leg. If the arrow points to the answer, try to ask the question. If a question appears, try to answer it. There's the arrow. What is the question? What did she use? There's the question. What is the answer? Who broke her leg? She did. The question. What did she break? The answer. Because she broke her leg. What had she broken? Who had broken her leg? She had. When did she use a wheelchair? After she had broken her leg. Why did she use a wheelchair? Because she had broken her leg.
Simple past. I played football in high school before I played baseball. In past perfect, I had played baseball in high school after I had played football. I had played football in high school before I had played baseball. The past perfect examples show the sequence of actions that happened in high school, in my past. First, Was football then baseball?
What sports did you play in high school?
I played football and baseball.
What sport did you play first?
I played football.
What sport did you play after football?
I played baseball.
When did you play football and baseball?
I played them in high school.
Change this past perfect sentence to another past perfect sentence with before. I had played baseball in high school after I had played football. I had played football in high school before I had played baseball. Now, ask and answer the questions. The arrow points to the answer. When had you played baseball in high school? I had played after I had played football. When had you played football in high school? I had played football before I had played baseball. What had you played after you had played football? I had played baseball. What had you played before you had played baseball? I had played football.
Who has studied for your English test?
I have. I have. Everyone has.
Past perfect is also used for reported speech.
What did your students say?
They said that they had studied for the English test.
What did you ask your students?
I asked if they had studied for their English test.
What did he say?
He said that he had studied for the test.
What did she say?
She said that she had studied for the test.
What did she say?
She said that everyone had studied for the test. The arrow points to the answer. What is the question and answer? Paul had studied for 3 hours for the English test last night. When had he studied for the English test? He had studied for the English test last night. What had he studied for last night? He had studied for the English test. Who had studied for the English test last night? Paul had. Everyone but Paul had studied for the English test last week. When had everyone, except Paul, studied for the English test? They had studied for the English test last week. What had everyone studied for last week, except Paul? They had studied for the English test. Who had studied for the English test last week? Everyone had, except Paul. How long had Paul studied for the English test? He had studied for 3 hours. How many hours had Paul studied for the English test? He had studied for 3 hours.
Let's see this movie. Have you seen this movie before?
Yes, I saw it last year. I didn't like it. It has too much violence. I don't want to see it again.
Here is what they said at the movie theater.
Let's see this movie. Have you seen this movie before?
Yes, I saw it last year. I didn't like it. It has too much violence. I don't want to see it again.
What did he say? He said, "Let's see this movie." What did he ask? He asked, "Have you seen this movie before?" What did she say? Now, answer this question about reported speech using past perfect. The participle of see is seen. She said that she had seen the movie last year, and that it had been too violent. She said that she had seen the movie last year and that it had been too violent. This sentence is an example of past perfect for reported speech. She said that she saw the movie last year and that it was too violent. This sentence is also an example of reported speech but in simple past tense. Both examples tell you the same reported speech information about the woman and the movie. It also gives you information about the state of being of the woman and the movie. The state of being is that the woman didn't like the movie and that the movie is violent. She said she saw the movie last year. She said the movie was too violent. If you delete "she said," then the sentences are not about reported speech but just her actions in the past and about her feelings about the movie. They still tell you about the state of being of the woman and the movie. When did she see the movie? She saw the movie last year. How did she feel about the movie? She felt the movie was too violent.
Here are 2 past actions. Write a sentence in past perfect tense that shows the relationship of the past actions. Past action number 1 happened first. The first verb is eat. The subject is woman and the object is dinner. The second verb is watch. The subject is woman and the object is TV. The woman had eaten dinner before she had watched TV. Write the sentence where the first past action is watch. The woman had watched TV before she had eaten dinner. Write the sentence where the past actions are happening at the same time. The woman was watching TV while she was eating dinner. Or, the woman was eating dinner when she was watching TV.
Here are two past actions. Write a sentence in past perfect continuous tense and simple past tense. Past action number 1 happened first. The first verb is walk. The subject is I and the object is store. The second verb is see. The subject is I and the object is the car accident. I had been walking to the store when I saw the car accident. The arrow points to the answer. Ask me the question. Use both verbs when you ask the question. Where had you been walking when you saw the car accident? I had been walking to the store. What did you see when you had been walking to the store? I saw the car accident. Who had been walking to the store when they saw the car accident? I had been. Active and passive voice. Now, I will explain the difference between active and passive voice in English grammar. Active and passive voice is often used with the perfect tenses. In active voice, the subject of the sentence is doing the action. For example, the woman had seen the movie. The subject is woman and the action is seeing. In passive voice, the subject of the sentence is moved to the right of the verb and then it becomes the object of the sentence. For example, the movie had been seen by the woman. In this sentence, the subject is movie and the object is woman. The woman had seen the movie. This sentence is in active voice. Here are the same sentences in passive voice. The movie had been seen by the woman. The movie was seen by the woman. In the passive voice example, the subject of the sentence is the movie. Since the subject is now the movie, it has to be in passive voice because a movie cannot see, only a person or animal can see. Many passive voice sentences have subjects that are not living things and therefore they cannot do any actions. Here's another example in active voice. I wrote this sentence. In passive voice, this sentence was written by me. This sentence had been written by me. This sentence has been written by me. When talking or writing in passive voice, you must use the past participle of the verb and the different forms of the verb to be. In the examples above, the past participle is written and the forms of the verb to be are, was, and been. Here is another example. Cervantes wrote Don Quixote in Spanish. Don Quixote was written by Cervantes in Spanish. Don Quixote is the name of the main character, but he is not a real person, so he could not write the book. The book had been written in Spanish by Cervantes. Before it had been written in English by Wagner. Don Quixote was written by Cervantes in Spanish. Before it was written in English by Wagner. It is more accurate to use the verb to translate since Wagner did not write the book. The past participle of translate is translated. Don Quixote had been written by Cervantes in Spanish, before it was translated into English by Wagner. Don Quixote had been written by Cervantes in Spanish before it was translated into English by Wagner. Who wrote Don Quixote? Cervantes did. Who translated Don Quixote? Wagner did. What language did Cervantes write Don Quixote in? He wrote it in Spanish. What language did Wagner translate Don Quixote into? He translated Don Quixote into English. What did Cervantes write? He wrote Don Quixote. Change the verbs to passive voice. Do not change the tense. Make sure to use to be and the past participle. Tom mailed the package. The package was mailed by Tom. Mary delivers our mail. Our mail is delivered by Mary. The teacher wrote this lesson. This lesson was written by the teacher. The mechanic will fix my car. My car will be fixed by the mechanic. My students study English. English is studied by my students. Sam had washed our windows. Our windows had been washed by Sam. If the sentence is in passive voice, change it to active voice. If the sentence is in active voice, then change it to passive. Do not change the tense. 1. She was helped by the teacher. The teacher helped her. 2. The gardener has cut the grass. The grass has been cut by the gardener. 3. Games were being played by the students in the classroom. The students were playing games in the classroom. 4. He heard music in the park. Music was heard in the park by him. 5. The letter had been mailed by us on Saturday. We had mailed the letter on Saturday. 6. She drinks water every day. Water is drunk by her every day. 7. The housekeeper has cleaned our room. Our room has been cleaned by the housekeeper. 8. The plumber fixed the leak in our bathroom. The leak in our bathroom was fixed by the plumber. 9. Many people speak Spanish in the United States. Spanish is spoken by many people in the United States. 10. Clowns have scared children. Children have been scared by clowns. 'Here are some of the 100 most common verbs from the list in Lesson 58 and 59. Try to write the past participle of these verbs. 3. Do. 'Done. 5. Go. 'Gone. 6. Get. 'Gotten. 7. Make. 'Made. 8. No. 'Known. 10. Take. 'Taken. 11. See. 'Seen. 12. Come. 'Come. 16. Find. 'Found. 17. Give. 'Given. 18. Tell. 'Told. 25. Become. 'Become. 45. Begin. 'Begun. 47. Write. 'Written. 67. Read. 'Read. 71, grow. Grown. 88, fall. Fallen. 94, rise. Raised or risen. The past participle for the rest of the verbs in the list is the same as the past tense form of the verb. This is the end of lesson 62. Thanks for watching and please subscribe and like this video.